Hello, and welcome to First Frames First, episode 88.
Good day.
I'm one of your hosts, Jason.
And I am the other host, and the more important host,
Fair
Adrian
enough.
Constant.
Okay. So listen, I can see you when the video is playing. The little.
I was wondering.
Adrian's like.
It's just so cool. The music was so good. Like, I was feeling good. I was feeling the vibes.
All right, fair enough. So listen, well, I probably shouldn't stand up too much because then people will see how I haven't been exercising. There we go. So, welcome to the show. We are going to have a special guest today, but he's just running a little bit behind, so we're going to get started. Let's get people caught up on life, on things that are happening in the Fable Forest world.
Now, firstly, I must say this is Marker.
Mm-hmm.
The girls, one of their favorite things to do is to draw on my face with marker, like makeup, but we don't really have makeup. So
permanent black markers,
not permanent black markers, just it's like kids marker, so it comes off really easily. So anyway, I just forgot to wash my face before being on the show.
I mean, you didn't forget to front light your face.
No, little, just a wee bit.
So I'm just saying that maybe you could have cleaned yourself up a little. Also,
hey, listen, time was short. Okay, now, so what's going on with Shifted is that we are currently moving through multiple streams of the post-production process. We're slowly working through some audio. We are slowly starting the VFX pipeline, and we are working through the color grade as we speak. So those are those are the biggies. Like we get those three done, and then the movie's gonna be done.
Let's break things down just a little bit. Let's slow it down. So we mentioned to everybody, I don't know if we've put a full post online, but we did mention in the podcast that we've hit picture lock. So what does that mean in general for people that are kind of watching along with indie film stuff?
Yeah. So
why is picture lock a big step?
Yeah. So essentially, we're editing and we're changing and we're watching and we're re-editing and we're moving and we're maneuvering and we're doing all sorts of things. So everything keeps changing in the edits. That's you and I. So I'll edit it. Then you and I will sit and watch it. You and I and Derek sit and watch it. And then we talk about it a little bit. And then we make changes. But at some stage, you have to say, we've got to stop making changes now, because you have to send something that's on to the other people who are going to be doing it. So we have that's what happens when we get picture lock. Now, in going through the movie again, there is stuff where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to tighten that and cut that and shorten that. So we are locked off for the time being until we get all of our stuff together, and then I will just make those little edits right at the end before we push out the final product.
Okay, and maybe once we get talking to Jason, we can add some more flavor about what some of the other things we were talking about. So color correction, some of the VFX, some of the score, the dialogue run.
Score is happening as well.
It's very exciting. All kinds of things are happening.
I should actually send him a message and say, "Yo, bro, are you covered in feces and naked and howling into your microphone like a deranged beast in the night?"
I assume so.
Because that's what we asked him to do. We were like, listen, go to a dark place, get really creepy, and try something interesting. So we'll see what happens.
Now we're going to see what happens here. I see our special guest. He's in the green room. He's waiting patiently to join us. Now, Jason Armstrong is our guest today. Filmmaker, musician, and been with us since the beginning.
Yeah.
I believe he was our first guest for sure.
Yeah,
and I think he was on our second episode.
And we sat down and spoke with him years and years ago.
Yeah.
Like just right at the beginning of everything. So
right. So it's going to be fun to have him back. After we chatted with him, he came out with a whole new web series, multiple other seasons of the series that he was working on when we first talked to him. So it's going to be good to catch up and hear what he's up to, hear how things have been going with his past work, and see what he's up to now. So let's, without further ado, let's get the show started, and then we'll bring Jason on. Hey guys, I'm Adrian. And I'm Jay. We run Fable Forest Films.
Right now, we're totally independent.
But what's the dream?
Making crazy awesome film and television for the biggest studios.
This podcast is our journey. And we're live.
Hey! Oh, hey. How's it going? Can you hear and see?
We can hear and see. Man, let me tell you, your backdrop, I assume you're green screening, you're exciting things back there.
No, it's just the junk in my office. It's the only part of my office I can show you without it. Just look like I'm a really, really efficient homeless person.
Mm-hmm. So if you show us the other parts of the office, there's secret.
Here, I'll just reach out with my hand. Let's see, here's the box the headphones came in.
And, like, when did you get the headphones?
This mask.
Inspiration.
Hey, inspiration mask. Nice.
It is.
It's like I can touch the sides of my office.
It's actually pretty big. I'm not going to complain. I got a nice big office, but it is very brimming with nonsense at the moment.
Oh, this is exciting. An office full of nonsense is the best.
It's true.
Yeah. So how are things? First of all, thank you for joining us. Sort of last minute.
No problem.
We keep meaning to keep saying, wow, we should get out and visit Jay and just catch up and see how he's doing. But you're just like a little too far. Not
quite worth it. I get it.
Like it's not that you're far. It's just that you're too far for like. Let's just shoot over and have a coffee and like chit chat, you know?
Yeah.
You're just too far, you know. But I mean, we're remote. It's nice. Welcome. Let's talk about how things have been going for the stuff that we talked about when we first had you on our podcast, like years ago. Bro. What it felt like, just years ago. What is happening, or what happened with inspiration? Like, can you tell us a little bit about what has your journey been like? Because if for the people that watch our show, they know like we are trying to work our way towards making dollar bills with our own content, and we're bringing people along for the ride, and we're sharing with them, you know, if we get distribution or how this works or what we're looking into and all that kind of stuff. So we'd love to hear kind of how has your journey been with your movie, which was amazing, by the way, which we saw multiple times.
Yeah, that was a great cap to that experience.
Sorry about that first time.
Yeah. It's been good. I mean, that movie's on Amazon and somebody else's problem now, so that's good. They do send us money every so often, so I assume it's being watched.
All right.
I hope to never watch it again, but
100%.
Yeah. Also, I've got you as close to my camera as I can, so if I don't seem like I'm ever looking at you, I apologize. So yeah, we did that. I mean, we shot a bunch of features since then and things, and like did things that are on hard drives, of course, and then also things like. I don't know if did you guys come and see the premiere for that movie Money?
Mm-hmm. I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
Yeah. How did Money do?
Well, I mean, I don't really know. It's funny because that's like one of the few like contract killer jobs that I've done where like, I went and directed someone else's movie. Mm-hmm. And it was a cool experience. It was interesting. It's sensitive to work with someone else's writing.
Mm.
But once you walk away, you don't really know what's going to happen. So I mean, I hadn't heard anything. Every once in a while, somebody would reach out to me and say, hey, I would like to get the footage for my demo reel or something. And I'm like, I cannot help you with that. But then, funny enough, someone messaged me on Twitter, and they were following one of the actors that was in that movie from some other show and were curious to see it. I know one of the actresses is on, or what at least was on, no, I can't think, the Umbrella Academy. So I'm assuming that's probably who, but anyway, so this person messaged me and wanted to know, how to watch this movie. And I said, I have no idea. But then I got curious and I Googled it, and sure enough, you could rent it on Vimeo. Okay. I never heard anything about that, but it does exist and you can watch it.
So they just went with Vimeo, eh?
I don't really know. I guess there's some contest attached to how it does in rental. I don't really know. Like, I'm not in that loop at all. But it is another movie that does exist, and you can watch it. And I helped it exist. So
now, just tell us, in case people get interested. First, let's start with inspiration. Can you just give us a little? What is inspiration, just quickly? And then tell us what money is. I heard something about money, so I want to ask you about it.
I'm going to get canceled before this is over. That's
fine.
Mostly just by industry people, though, not the people I like. So inspiration is about this author who, writes a horror novel, does really well, doesn't want to do that anymore, moves on to other things. No one likes any of the other things. So basically, she ends up through a series of circumstances needing to go and revisit the story that she's already told, and it just gets kind of weird and spooky. That's very,
very awesome. Now, Adrian, you worked a little on money, did you not? Are you credited? Are you credited in that movie?
Oh, I'm not sure. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like color grading or something.
Yeah. I did the color correction for that, and it was a lot of fun because the truth is that I just had to upgrade my whole system. I was forced to upgrade my everything in order to do it, and I happily, I haven't looked back since then, but it was just a big step, and it was great, and I really enjoyed, because I really enjoy color correcting. I find it exceptionally, it's so fun, and so I had a great time doing that, and there was a lot of back and forth, but it was good. It was good.
I heard that there was something related to, I don't know how it worked, but you could win some money. This is the thing that I heard. You could win some money by watching the movie and figuring out the clues or something like that.
Yes. So the mystery,
but I mean, if it's on Vimeo, I'm not.
The mystery is such a secret that I never knew what it was, and I don't know how I couldn't have known, but at any rate, I guess I didn't. So I know they didn't use the ending that we originally shot, so maybe that plays into it. I'm not sure, but I don't know.
So what you're saying is the secret to winning the money is to find the footage in your house that has never been released to the. It's on a hard. Everyone, it's on a hard drive in
Jason's house. Go and get it.
It might be underneath the little Monopoly mask over
it's
there.
It's such a prize. I do have a 480p rough cut of the movie that I turned in, before, whatever. But I can't show anybody that. So I also at this moment not exactly sure where to find it. So.
Yeah, so I will say that the producers were very explicit that I would not get any sound with the edit, with the color correction, which was fine, and I knew nothing about it. But later, I found an article in the Guelph Times, I think, and it was just basically the writer and producer who said that if you could figure it out, inside of the movie was embedded a series of clues, and you would be able to find $250,000 And if you worked it out, then you would get the $250,000.
I mean, they never told me I wasn't eligible, but I have no idea. So I guess.
Can't you? Why? You know, if you were a better guest, buddy, you would
right. We turn it into like
send
free
people,
movie.
yes, you would send people on a wild goose chase. Now, what I heard was, anyway.
it's not. Yeah, it's a weird situation. You know, it's one of those things. I think, like, you know, it was their first movie too, and you kind of have some grandiose plans that maybe don't pan out, and that's fine. I mean, you know, whenever I try to shoot for the moon, it's fine, and whenever I'm like, oh, let's just make this thing because it's the weekend and that'd be fun, then, you know, thousands of people watch it. So I don't know. I don't if you want to know what the formula is, I don't know. You got to do the Costanza. Just whatever you think is the right thing to do, just do the opposite of that. It might work out. You could.
Now, so, quick question with regards to inspiration. Because we don't want to bog you down, but you've gone a traditional distribution route, which is awesome. Would you make another movie and go that same traditional route? Because you've actually done multiple routes. You've got the YouTube, you've had success on YouTube with your series, and you have inspiration out there as your baby. Would you go the route with the traditional distributor again? Would you do it yourself? What has been your experience?
Let me just give me a second to think about how to put this. So the first movie I ever shot, I actually made it twice. And I probably told you guys that story before. I don't know. But anyway, like, we tried to do it ourselves with like some buddies and just unscripted, and it was whatever. We didn't really show anybody. And then, you know, a friend of mine who'd been in film school said, hey, I can get some people together and we can like actually make this into a real movie and get actors. I was like, all right. So we did that. The concept behind the movie was, I mean, I was in a band at the time, and we were like, it'd be cool if we had like a little short film about a bunch of different people, and then we had songs based on those. That was kind of, I wasn't trying to become a filmmaker. That's what we were trying to do. But then, you know, we turned it into a movie, but it still is that. The movie's called 48 Hours in Purgatory, and it's been out on, like, you know, you can rent to own it platforms independently. I don't know if you can get it anymore, but I do have a copy of it on VHS though. So if you, I didn't make it that long ago. It's I thought it would be fun.
Listen, I still watch VHS movies all the time.
I know. I followed your journey.
Thank you. It's so irritating.
Anyway, so then, you know, Inspiration, I think, was the second thing I made, and we shot a movie in Nashville called Allison Undone, which is a hard drive movie so far. It's great. It's a good flick, good acting, you know, pretty decent budget behind it, all that stuff, but just some production level chaos. So I'm just waiting on my marching orders on that flick.
Interesting.
And
we love hearing about problems.
Oh, do you? Oh, buddy, strap in. I made a big coffee.
we're always like, we want to hear all of the fuck ups, so that way we can try to not have some of those.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you could learn from other people's mistakes, but I don't know, man. We're not wired that way. What we're wired for? We're wired for this kind of sick optimism where we're like, you know what? I can jump off that cliff and survive. I'm gonna do it. Anyway, so you know, Inspiration was kind of a long, arduous ordeal, and we got it out there and it's distributed and doing its thing. Along the way, and shot another movie, which actually I'll tell you about that in a minute. But then some of the actors we worked with, you know, I talked to Emily, who was in Inspiration, and she was in 48 Hours in Purgatory and Allison Undone. Like, we worked together a million times. Sharon who's in Swerve, and my friend Kat, who hasn't done a ton of acting and is currently dealing with some significant health issues, but and I just said, hey, like I got this idea, these characters that I think you guys could play, and like what if we just went to some cabin for a weekend and shot this little 6-part drama. We'll just throw it on YouTube, maybe a few hundred people will watch it. We'll all just like cover our own bills, and it's just for fun. And so we did, and we borrowed a place to shoot it, and there wasn't electricity or running water. It was insane. But we shot it in like 4 days, and it wasn't it was just something we did for fun. And we ended up making 3 seasons of that show. So
great.
Very, very strange thing, but writing episodic stuff is just, I like it better than writing movies. And I think if I'd known what I know now, I would have realized probably my first movie was a web series, but there weren't any web series back then, really. So who knows? Maybe it'll come back as a web series. I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of movie scripts. I've got a couple movies on hard drives, that'll probably come out someday. And I would certainly, distribute those. However, I just think when I observe my own patterns and the patterns in my own household, I mean, nobody's looking to put a DVD in a slot or anything. Like, I like it for the nostalgia, but like, I don't want to put in that effort every time I want to watch a movie. So I'm not sure what the market is that way. And I'm curious to see how Disney makes out with like Mulan, and they're like $30 to rent it, even though you already pay for Disney Plus.
What is that? What is
so?
That?
I understand
so
it because
gross.
they were going to lose a ton of money on that movie not coming out. I understand the reasoning, but
now I heard recently that they weren't going to charge you $30, and if you had Disney Plus, you just get it.
Yeah, if you go to Disney Plus, it says must be a premium member.
Yeah, so that's the thing, and that's going to cost you $30. But then I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the deal is once you do that, you have it. In December or something, it'll just be on Disney Plus for free. So we're just waiting. Sorry, Disney. I'm sure you're watching closely.
So is the rest of the world. Let me tell you.
Yeah, probably. Well, that's what I think, right?
They're like, we're good. $30. I'll wait.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you think about it, if you're going to sit down with your family, like you're married and you got a bunch of kids or something, then, or you invite the neighbors over. Well, that's not so bad, really. It's cheap enough, but I don't know. I'm waiting. I do want to see it quite badly, but no, I'm waiting. I'm a patient guy.
We have paid $70 to watch UFC.
Yeah, I would not do that either.
It's been fun.
Hang up on me. Go ahead. No.
Yeah.
It's been
all right, fine. There we go.
Savagery.
I guess I'll go watch the football game. I don't know.
So just looking at Swerve, like I really enjoyed Swerve. Talk about the success of that show. What did that feel like?
Shocking. I mean, it's not like it's not like, it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It's certainly far from some sort of household title or any of that kind of thing. It's very niche, I suppose. But it was cool just to think that, oh man, I made something. I mean, myself and a lot of other people, obviously. Yeah. It's not just me. But I sat up at night tweaking a script and then tweaking an edit and then tweaking a color grade and, sending mixes back and forth, and people watched it. People watched it so much that, that shortly after that, some of the actors were being flown to like Las Vegas or somewhere to speak at a panel about the show. And you know what I mean? Like our second season was, significantly more episodes than our first season. I actually don't remember now how many it was, but a lot. And and then just kind of it's amped up, and I mean, like, got big numbers. We made a little bit of money off of the YouTube channel that way, and it's still to this day cranking in pretty good views, and yeah, people like it. I mean, it's just it's funny because I had a friend of mine sent me a picture of a tree full of like some kind of birds, some kind of like vultures, and they were like, this is really creepy. It made me think of your movies, and I was like, I think people don't know me because I get that a lot from people I'm friends with that are like, oh yeah, you make horror movies, and I'm like, if you actually knew the thing I'm most known for, it's really not at all.
It's really not.
It's really not. Yeah.
Tell people what Swerve is about a little bit, and where I guess you go on YouTube. What's the best way to find it for people on YouTube? Probably Skeleton Key Films, right?
Skeleton Key Films on YouTube, or you can type, Swerve Series as all one word. If you hashtag Swerve Series, you'll find people. It's cooled down at the moment, but you'll find all kinds of discussions about it and whatever. It's it's not hard to find. Swerve Series as one word will make it the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
What's it about? About a girl that's kind of on the run. It sounds like a really bad Canadian movie. Unhappy young adult leaves small town in search of greater truth. Whatever, I don't know.
I will just say it's adorable. Who normally likes action flicks and horror movies and explosions, it's adorable and it's really fun to watch. I really enjoy the characters, and the acting is great, and it was enjoyable. So now you move into, now did you make another movie after that, or when did you move into the next web series?
So it's kind of was it before or after season 2? I don't remember. That we did Circa 1981, Mike Clausen and I, and we might revisit that world a bit. But a thing that I think most people don't know is that we kind of each wrote segments of that web series, and all the ones I wrote feature or are about Elise, the protagonist from Swerve's mother's teenage years. So the young woman that's in that is actually her mom in the world of the stories. So it's not strictly speaking a Swerve thing, but it's kind of a fun little connection.
Your universe building.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help it. I just there's certain characters I just like, and she actually came back in Swerve season 3 to play mom. Briefly. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So we did that. We did, I think even before any of those, we shot 9 Days with Cambria. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. It's kind of artsy. It's 9 different women, but they're all portraying the same person, and each one is just kind of a monologue about life experiences and stuff, and find a lot of the usual suspects in there. And it was kind of biographical. It was based on someone that Mike knew, and we had a lot of conversations and stuff, and we're like, let's write this. I think it'll be cool. It's weird and strange thing to do, but we enjoyed it. We was able to shoot it pretty quickly, and got some really good performances and stuff. So that's another thing that's in there. I don't remember the chronology of it. And then just sort of up to date and almost informally announcing, so I don't know if you guys have ever come across the saga of this project called The Ghost is a Lie in my to-do list. But anyway, it was somewhere way back. We were like, let's crowdfund something, and we did. And we did this found footage thing, and it was fun, but it was, it was chaos, obviously. And had like a buddy from LA came up and was involved with it. And it was crazy and super ambitious. Anyway, then time passed and we couldn't release it. We just couldn't find it in the stuff we shot. We just couldn't really find the thing we were trying to do. sounds a little crazy, but
jeez, that is very upsetting. That must have been a little bit of a gut punch.
Well, the problem is really like I would have just released it, sort of what we intended to make, but it's like 3 hours of people like talking and wandering around in the forest and dying for sure. But I mean, you have to be interested in the like nuance of conversation and the intricacies of like the dynamics between these people and stuff. And so kind of after sitting with it, I was like, I like it, but I might be the only one. So we just kind of sat on it, and we took a few other swipes at getting it right. And then ultimately what we did was Mitch and myself and Kat, who I mentioned earlier, she's in the first season of Swerve. We shot a proper, film to kind of wrap around that footage. And started to work on that, and then there was just life circumstances for those guys kind of got complicated, and so that's when we got into Swerve and everything, and it just kind of waited. But we're actually digging back into that, and we're going to release that as a web series around Halloween. And that has Chandler from Money is in it, and Sharon from Swerve is in it, and a couple of fun cameos and stuff. So yeah,
cool.
So that's the next thing, I guess. I've not told anyone that publicly, so there it is.
Yes,
all 6 people that are watching this show.
Listen, this is a big get. We're gonna shout it from the mountaintops.
Do it. I just need 2 seconds. I know it seems incredibly rude, but
quick. Let's all text our kids.
No,
I literally was texting my kid a few minutes earlier.
Oh, really?
My internet is like broken. That's why I had to come to the office. And yeah, he's like, I have to do this thing. I'm like, okay, do it. He's like, should I do it? I'm like, yeah, do it. Okay, see you later. All right, buddy.
Yeah. My so with school here, they go back to school Monday. The high school students. So my daughter's in high school, and so they're doing cohorting where it's like, half. Anyway, she found out that her friend, who is the reason that she was going to go back instead of do it remotely, is in the other cohort. So they're not going to be in school on the same day. So they're, so that was just a whole thing. And,
surely they can maneuver something, make something work.
I mean, I think it's so chaotic that, I mean, I wouldn't approach them about it. I would just feel bad because it's already so much mayhem that they're dealing with.
Yeah. Luckily, because it's bus routes, at least both my kids are in the same cohort.
Oh, nice. Oh, but yeah, that makes sense.
At least they go to school and it's so hilarious. My son is it's bus routes. My son is in grade 12, and he actually has a spare this year, so it's a really funny thing because instead of normally when kids go to school, they literally do 4 classes and then another 4 classes, right?
Yeah.
And so having a spare is just like class, extended lunch, class. But now what it is there's quadmesters, right? So it's
so he gets like 6 weeks off or something.
He literally has every 2 weeks he goes to school. The next 2 weeks, no school.
Yes, my second oldest is in the same situation. And I was like, bro, you're gonna earn it.
Yeah. He's like, what am I supposed to do? So it was fun because I said, well, you know what you can do? It's time to start making movies. Every 2 weeks, you should do something. You should write. You should watch Film Riot tutorials. It's time to get going. So it's pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you got to push them.
So Jason,
yes,
you have a lot going on. You have you shoot a lot of things. How
it feels like I don't, because this year's been pretty
quiet.
Well, it's been all writing and prepping, but yeah.
Now just talk a bit, because you actually have like 27 children as well. So, just talk about your life at home with all your children and filmmaking.
Four of them hold the boom.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. My youngest just turned 11. So it goes 11, 15, 17, 19. There's 4 of them. 4. If it does feel like 20.
You said 4 of them. I could have I swear to God, I thought you said it's horrible.
No.
But you said it was 4 of them. That's fine.
Hear it how you want to. It's been good. I mean, my oldest son was wanting to go off to college, but obviously that didn't materialize because of circumstances. And so it was a long March break, but we're getting through it. So I mean, they all get along really well. And actually, I think it was good in a sense that, like, especially during the most extreme part of the lockdown, our house was never quiet and like boring. Mm-hmm. It was a little tense sometimes, but they're in a close enough age categories that they can watch a movie together or play video games or what, you know what I mean? Like they kind of kept each other occupied. And so, yeah, it's been, I mean, so that aspect wasn't bad. So there's that. My wife has been off work, obviously, because she works for youth organization called Youth Unlimited and runs a youth center here and is the area director. And obviously, like, none of that stuff was happening. So she's about to go back. And I mean, we got a lot of renovation stuff done. I built some furniture. I teach a class in Simcoe, which has been not happening. So I think we'll be going back to that sometime soon. And I'm just like probably tomorrow morning finishing and sending out the treatment stuff for 3 projects. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
That's so good. So
don't share those with us. I like to believe that somewhere out there, somebody's interviewing like Ron Howard and he's like, yeah, I mean, I built some furniture recently. He's just, things are slow right now. I don't know what to tell you guys.
I mean, why not?
He is saying that.
That's
Everybody's
right.
saying that.
That's what I'm saying.
Actually, my oldest son was working at Home Depot during this, and he said that you could never keep wood inside. I don't know if you guys were doing any projects, but trying to buy wood was something else during this thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, well, we're not going on vacation. We might as well build an ultra deck or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, and also I assume a lot of guys who had never built anything before built their decks 2 or 3 times. So there was a lot of
that would be me. That would totally be me. I have never built anything before.
It's fun. It's fun to play with dangerous saws and things. Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about your writing process. And like you start with the germ of an idea and take us through your process all the way, because have you written almost all these things? Obviously, Money, you were brought on director for hire, but all these other things, were you the scribe? Did you do the writing?
Yes. So with Circa 1981 and 9 Days with Cambria, Mike Clausen and I split the writing. So we each picked certain storylines we wanted to follow, and we wrote those. But Swerve, I wrote all 3 seasons and a related project that's coming up. And, the movies I wrote all of those. Writing. So for me, writing is really about, there has to be a character that interests me. I don't care about the events or whatever, like Aaron Sorkin said, like, if you're like, I have an idea for a beach movie, he's like, you don't have an idea for a movie. All you know is where to park the trucks. So, he said, like, you don't have a movie. So for me, it's about characters. And if I'm like really interested in the characters, I kind of like, I've been kind of a lifelong fan of Stephen King, which, I've obviously read his books about writing and stuff. And, he said his thing is kind of like ordinary people in extraordinary situations, and what makes us want to watch it is, what are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this? How are they going to get into this? Just an event just happening to sort of hapless characters doesn't necessarily make for a good movie. For me, doesn't make for riveting entertainment. So for me, a lot of times it's a character, will come to mind literally out of nowhere, usually. And a struggle, something that they have to deal with. And then I'll start to think about setting and stuff. But I actually have, this is one of so many notebooks. I always use a notebook and a pen or a mechanical pencil, because I don't like to open up my script writing software until it's like busting out of me. So it's just notes and rough outlines, and once it's go time, then I'll sit down and I'll when I'm ready, I'll literally crank out the first draft in like 2 or 3 days, and then obviously awesome. The sort of the editing process is a different story. You go through and try and say like, a human being can't say that sentence or whatever, whatever. But alternatively, sometimes I'll write the script with no dialogue. So just the scenes and the actions and stuff. And then, once that's done, go back and then fill in the dialogue. But typically it's just, I wander around this small town that I live in with headphones on, like just about every night. Sometimes I'm on the phone. Sometimes I'm just listening to music. And, I think most people in this town think I'm just that crazy guy that is wandering
They
around
totally think that.
Yeah, they do. But then every once in a while, they'll see me like set up at the main intersection with like cameras and a boom guy and stuff. And they're like, who is this guy and why is he here? What's going on? But so I kind of go through this process of just like wrestling with the character and the story, and once it kind of reaches this critical mass, then I'll sit down and, originally it was Final Draft. Now I use Celtics and just go for it. I do have the app for Celtics on my phone, because a lot of times I like to sit somewhere other than my office and write. And I have written entire scripts actually on my phone instead of at a computer, just because I don't like sometimes the environment isn't conducive to writing. It's very good for rewriting. It's just not necessarily good for writing. So that's kind of my process. I mean, I really like writing. I think it might have been Alfred Hitchcock that said, like, once the script is finished, the movie's perfect, and then you start ruining it. By casting it and trying to shoot it and everything. And so I love writing. I mean, I've also I've got a book in a drawer. I wrote a book once and didn't quite finish it. So my wife brings it up to me pretty frequently. But
come on.
I don't know.
I'm on your wife's team. Let's go.
It's not bad. It's not terrible. Maybe I'll send it to you sometime. You can read it just for giggles. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm a book putter outer. So yeah.
Hey, you never know. You could be a book putter outer.
I could be a book putter outer.
Right? I mean, you're not going to be a book putter outer with that attitude, sir.
If you leave it in the drawer.
Fair enough. That's cool. Well, give us what is the book about? Just give us a little taste.
The book. So the book is called Skinless Jazz, and again, it's about, so sort of contrary almost to what I said I like about writing. It's about this city that sort of has a personification to it, and the people who live in that city sort of feel like they can't leave. Not in the sense of like purgatory necessarily, but just in the sense of like the city has a hold on them. And so it's kind of loosely connected to my film 48 Hours in Purgatory. There's basically this guy that's kind of a desperate documentary filmmaker, and he just is wandering around this town and just starts talking to different people and getting their stories. And, so you got like this old guy who, works in a factory way past when he should have retired, and this other blind guy who hangs out at a jazz club. And there's just a lot of, it's neat. It's kind of a cool story. I don't know,
That is very cool. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you've written 2 movies that take place in Purgatory at least, so...
No, I mean, not even the Purgatory, but you had me at the city is kind of this personification. It's kind of a living thing. There was a book that Jason gave me where he was like, it was a Dean Koontz book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the city.
Yeah, the city. And I was like, oh, the city's going to be alive. This is going to be amazing. And then it was like, meow. It was not. And I was very disappointed. So let me tell you, if you wrote that, if you put that out... That'd be great. I love it. Right. I think it's great.
All right. Maybe I'll slip you a link to 48 Hours in Purgatory, and then you'll get a primer because it's kind of touched on in that movie. But
cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So what comes now? Do you also? I'm curious. Let's talk about your planning process for future projects. So, like, when you are. You talked about kind of that you're about to release. You've got a lot of stuff in the hard drives you mentioned, and you're planning to release this this long-standing project that you had, which is called
The Ghost is a Lie.
The Ghost is a Lie. That's right.
Yeah.
And but then how do you plan for what the next thing is for you? Like, do you write something that you have, or you're kind of looking for? Are you starting to think about, I want to hunt for where this is going to land before I think about making it, as far as distribution or whatever?
No, I kind of resigned myself to the fact that if I'm going to make something, it's going to be because I want to see it. Mm-hmm. And then, now obviously, the more expensive and the more complicated those things get, you need to find other people that also want to see it. But yeah, I definitely don't think about that stuff ahead of time. I do find that most of the things I think about have like a threaded anthology feel to it. So, kind of like the Twilight Zone, but if the Twilight Zone always had one character that was in the show, I don't mean like the host. I just mean like some guy or gal that's just like always there. Mm-hmm. So I like that stuff, a character that kind of wanders from one life to another, but we get to peek into those lives. So what I do know is that the most likely trajectory for me is into episodic stuff. So I kind of keep that in mind. But the other thing is with things like Netflix and Amazon and all that stuff, like you could go either way and they could still buy it off you. So it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, the planning process for me is kind of, it's a little chaotic. I assume you guys are just like this, but like I could sit down if you guys said, "Hey, I got $500 and some gear and a couple actors that we can fool into coming out. Let's go this weekend and make something." I could walk in there with no ideas and we could still come up with a movie. I'm sure you guys are the same way. It might not be good, but whatever, So I cycle through. There's literally like we could go into have a production meeting and I could pitch you like 25 things like right now that that I've considered making. But what I find is you go hang out at the beach for a day, you cut the grass, you do whatever, and as time passes, there's 2 or 3 that you just can't stop thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a ton of ideas, but there's a few that you just can't get them out of your head, or especially if the characters are sticking in your head and you're like, I got to know what happens. Mm-hmm. The only way I can find out what happens is if I write it. Mm-hmm. So I have to think about it, and then I got to write it. So for me, I would say it's basically dictated by obsession. So if I can get obsessed with an idea, or if it sort of takes over my thinking, then that's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to pursue.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and also, like I said, convincing someone to help make it is part of that process. But
Yeah.
You have a lot of friends that that kind of cross borders and stuff, helping you out with different things. What does that look like? Are they working? Or is everything kind of shut down? Or
like that, like in the States and stuff? You mean? They're getting back to work. I honestly haven't talked to those guys too much during this, other than political theater and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like everybody else. They're cautiously trying to figure it out. And, honestly, I look at the whole situation and I look at, kind of what we're working on here in the next little bit. And I think, for guys that are willing to say, you know what, I'll pick up the camera. This guy that I see every day anyway can pick up the boom pole. We'll stay 10 feet away from the actors and we'll just make something. This is going to be a great time for all the people that can get on board with that sort of thing. And I'm not suggesting like not taking precautions and not taking things seriously, but within sort of the rules, I think this is just as good a time for sort of the indie anti-union brats of the film world to flourish, because they're going to crank out content while everybody else is going, wow, like my $20,000 tip project costs $30,000 now because everybody has to do all these tests and live in these special quarters, and that's fair. That, I mean, it should be like that, but it sucks because where's the money coming from to pick up the slack? And I mean, also, even I'm not sure, but I'm assuming insurance companies are a little hesitant to get behind big projects if they don't know that all the boxes are going to be ticked and stuff. So, I mean, I think it's probably a good time to just like go make stuff.
Yeah, man. You just got to get people that are willing to do it. If you can find the people who are willing to do it, because everyone is nervous, everyone is cautious.
Yeah, I think part of it too is you have to let people know that you're thinking of them also.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, as the production team, like we're coming back to do a couple of reshoots. And we spent some time and did a little research and put together like a list of things that we knew we would do to make sure that people stay as safe and as, unexposed as possible. And we let people know up front and let them know that we were thinking about them, and everybody came back and said, yeah, this looks great. Thank you for putting this together, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We're willing to, take, I mean, everything's a risk, I suppose. You're going to the store and there's risks, but you try to mitigate those risks and keep everybody safe.
I mean, there's only so much we can do, and at some point, I mean, especially because I have kids and my grandparents are still alive in their 80s, so they're high risk for even just the flu or anything. So I've tried to take things really seriously, be careful to remember to do everything and all of that. But I think even those of us that aren't in the hoax category are looking at things and going like, we got to get back to work somehow, though. Like, we do have to get back, and some of us have to work with other people. So,
some people have been very lucky that, like a lot of tech and all that kind of stuff, been very lucky that they can continue working their normal job, but remotely and almost function almost like they did in the office. But a lot of people cannot do that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, post-production, awesome.
But now they're going to have nothing coming in.
Yeah, that's right. Eventually, that's going to dry up.
Yeah.
There's I've seen a lot of memes about artists, writers, filmmakers saying like, "Oh, great, we're locked. We're locked away and we can't go outside. I'm going to get tons of work done." And then the next panel is, "I'm not getting any work done." So it's this takes a toll on everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard because you're looking around you going, wow, like everybody's in the same situation. And not only that, but like, I don't want to write about the coronavirus. So, you know what I mean? Like, enough people are using it as a springboard.
Don't do it.
Do you think so the people that do attack at this time. They're like, okay, let's go shoot. But they still decide to take some kind of precautions. Do you think you might be able to tell a difference in, like, if you were to watch really carefully, you tell a difference in shooting style, like movies that are pre-corona and movies that are post-corona? Like all of a sudden there's like people are shooting on longer lenses, the wide shots, the actors are further apart, and then there's a lot more singles rather than overs. You know what I mean? Like things actually change. It would be interesting to see if it does affect anything.
Yeah. All the sex scenes are onesomes. Yeah,
that's right. It's just a close up on the guy's face. It's like,
it's like, wow, this is. I mean, obviously, it's going to affect those things. But the other thing to consider is that, I mean, obviously, if you have lots of money, you can have everybody show up a few weeks ahead of time, sit in a hotel together, and if nobody dies, you go shoot.
We do film one character at a time. And then we composite them over top of each other.
Man, composite green screen technology is getting really good.
I don't want any part of that. If I have to walk onto set with the words "fix it" in post hanging over my head, I don't want to shoot it. Whatever it is, I don't care.
Fair enough.
But
fine.
No, but I mean, I think you'll see it. I think, but it depends on the budget. I mean, there's obviously, I think what you're not going to see is a lot of PDA and stuff. Like there's going to be the you'll probably find the romantic element will be oddly absent from a lot of those things. Unless you can find a actor couple that's already living together, which is great if you can, but odds are one of them sucks. So.
That's how it goes.
Right? Like, so yeah, I don't know, but I mean, again, who knows? By springtime, maybe things will pick up and go back to normal enough that as consumers, we won't really notice much. But
okay, Jason, I want to ask you something about all the editing and the work that you do, and just. From my perspective, like how do you, when things do get busy, so you particularly, you've always got stuff on the boil, so you're always writing stuff. This is what I garner from our conversation so far. But then when you've also got an edit that you're busy trying to get out the door, when do you work? When do you find the time between the family to work? Like, are you working late into the evenings and then you're up with your kids to see them off to school in the morning? Like, how does
I mean, it's hard because I almost can't remember what happened before everyone was home all the time. But it's weird. Like you feel better about neglecting your kids when they're already going to school every day. But when they're here, you kind of feel weird about it. No, I'm joking. They might even be watching. I don't know. I hope not. But I mean, I just have to fit it in whenever I can. But also there is time when you just have to say, I'm going to work and you guys can't knock on the door for 4 hours. I mean, the thing about writing too, specifically when that's where I'm at, or really any of it, you can only do good work for so long. You can work for a really long time. Yeah. But you can only do good work. And with editing, like you lose focus fairly quickly. Color grading is kind of the same thing. Your eyes start to like not know what they're looking at anymore. So
you've got a couple of hours of high quality work before it starts to go downhill.
Writing is probably the only thing that I can like focus on for like 5 or 6 hours at a go. Everything else, it's like 2 or 3 hours is probably about as much as you're going to get done. But if you think about it, because I've also been this guy, you can fill your day up with intentions and actually get nothing done day after day. You sometimes you don't even quite get the program open or whatever. So I think if you could commit to 3 hours of anything a day creatively, it's a lot. It's a lot of output. You can actually accomplish a lot. There are going to be times when you're going to have to say, you know what, the next 48 hours is going to be me, coffee, and this keyboard, and we're just going to do this thing.
And that's when you're in a crunch. But like I sometimes you struggle to put 30 minutes in a particular day.
Yeah.
If you're just not able to get to it.
Well, and I think, and one thing that's been huge for me is that, so probably, I don't know, say at least 4 times a week, my wife and I get up in the morning, make sure our oldest is off to work. Nobody's been going to school forever. So, and then we'll jump in the car, with a coffee and just go driving around and just talk about life and stuff. So it's good that way because we stay connected and stay kind of apprised of what we're doing, but we both have like things we're pursuing individually. Mm-hmm. So we don't need the other person to be like, to feel like we're doing something important. We got our own things, but what's great is my wife, kids are a little different. They don't always, understand the depth of it, but my wife gets that, as I guess cheesy as it feels to say, like I'm an artist, art stuff, whether it's technical or creative, is what I do. And that process involves wandering around outside in the middle of the night sometimes, or sometimes it involves a nap, not very often, but, or keeping weird hours or, having to make trade-offs with who's going to be at home and who's going to be away and whatnot. So, having a partner that's really supportive and really gets your idiosyncrasies. I mean, this doesn't mean there's never any tension over it, but that makes a huge difference in how productive you can be, because you can work without feeling like they really don't want me out here. They want me, like my office is detached from my house. So, I'm not feeling like, they're upset that I'm doing this, for example, so I should go back inside, but it's not like that. So that makes those 3 or 5 hours of creativity or work more effective, because I'm not feeling any kind of like emotional burden or guilt. Yeah. I'm feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing to kind of grow as the person I'm becoming. So, yeah.
Amazing. That's good.
So now
3 hours a day.
Your new web series that's going to come out around Halloween.
Yeah.
This is going to be on your YouTube channel, Skeleton Key, or is it going to be somewhere else? Yes.
No, just on YouTube. Yep.
Okay, this is exciting. And is there anything else kind of that you wanna pimp that's going on right now that people can look at, or anything else on the go for you?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
well, let me tell you. Let me
but
just tell people that are watching the show now and then later on. Go to Skeleton Key Films on YouTube. You can literally dive in. Go to the playlist section. Don't just start looking at videos. So go to the playlist section. You've got Swerve. You've got Circa 1981, and you can literally watch hours and hours and hours of stuff. And it's great stuff. So
you could definitely burn up a whole day on that channel at this point.
Totally, because you watch one and you're like,
that's such a.
They're all short. They're all like 9. Well, mostly, right? Like 8 or 9.
Yeah, 9 minutes to 12. Yeah, something like that.
And so you finish one. You're like, that was pretty short and pretty great. I'm gonna click go to the next one. And then you've killed a couple hours. So it's great. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, might as well. Yeah, so I mean that's the place to look. And of course, I mean I don't know that subscribing works like it used to. Apparently, it's just a suggestion now. But if you do subscribe, I guess you get better odds of knowing when that next thing comes out, which I anticipate a trailer shortly, and then awesome. Yeah, I mean it'll occur around Halloween. I'm not sure more than that, but
this is very exciting. All right, well, thanks.
It's so great
for joining us today and kind of syncing us up with what you've been up to. So we're looking forward to watching the next stuff, and we'll probably have you on the next 3 years or so. If we're still, we're still going to be rolling with this show forever, hopefully, and
it'll be the same as well. Probably when we spoke to you last time, we were like, "Oh, it's really going to suck, but we're just going to get going so that we can slowly get better." But we just continue doing the same thing. So
I feel.
I think the last time I did it, I was like sitting in Jason's basement or something, or maybe it was yours. But But yeah, no, great. I mean, I think what we should do is as soon as we're done here, we'll just rotate the boxes, and then I'll just have a podcast, and I'll talk about. You guys can tell me your stuff.
I think I do this. No, this.
It's cool. This StreamYard studio is pretty sweet.
Yeah, there we go. So Adrian.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, I mean, we just finished shooting the.
Oh no, let's get into it.
Yes. I don't know how this works. You're supposed to be able to drag these around, but whatever.
You moved. I moved on my screen. So.
Fair enough. Okay, well, thanks again for joining us. And again, guys, next week, I don't know, maybe we're gonna have a special guest that we pull in last minute. Maybe we're just gonna sync up again, and let you guys know what's going on. So, but maybe we should do that. Maybe we should focus on what we're actually doing with Shifted, and give people a proper update.
Okay.
So maybe next week it'll just be a full-on Shifted update. We'll teach people, what color grading is. What.
The entire gamut of filmmaking. That's what I want.
We're all the pipelines, because we've got a VFX. We've got the VFX happening, color correction, audio, music. Everything is happening.
All of it. All of it next week.
It's all happening like this.
And an update. 10 minutes. 10 minutes max. 10 minutes. Just super quick. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Really hope you enjoyed the show.
Wherever you watched or listened, please leave us a comment or a review. We really want to hear from you.
Share the show with a friend. You know they'll love us.
Head over to our website, thefableforest.com. There's all kinds of great stuff.
Poke around. Check it out.
See you all again in a couple weeks.